So this is the Mustang Hopi. I've been working with her quite a bit. Over the winter, I wasn't able to work as many horses as I have been, like throughout the fall and the summer and all that. But she was one of the ones I kind of stayed consistent with. She did cut her eye, so she is a little reluctant to having me touch up on her forehead there. But if I can get over there, I'll show her that it's okay. Good girl. I'll just pet her forehead when she lets me, work on petting her eye over here. And I want her to be okay with me touching this one too, so when I'm over here, I might swipe over just real quick and see if she'll let me do that. I'll work on getting underneath the eye there. And I can just go over that eye. I want to do this until she's not very active. I'm not putting too much pressure on that eye because it does have that cut. You're okay. Go back to this eye where she likes it. I'll come over here. I just want to do this until she's not reactive. She needs to learn that it's okay if I touch that eye. That was pretty good. So a big breakthrough that we had with Hopi over the winter was working with her feet. She was one of the ones where if you went to pick up her front foot, she tried to jump on top of you. And we did a lot of work with that. Start off by just touching her shoulder, just like I've explained with her a few times. And with most horses, you just want to start off by touching their shoulder here. And you slowly work down until you can pick that foot up. Now I already picked this one up earlier and picked it out, so this one's actually good to go. Mess with it a little bit and let her have it back. So she was pretty bad about kicking with these back feet too. And I took my time. I think the last video with her that we did too, I was just able to get to right about here before she started getting reactive with it. I'll just work on picking that up. I'll grab it with this hand. Come over here. Easy. I'm just bragging on you. You can't do anything bad. So since she is still new to picking up her feet without being too reactive, after I get one up, I'll give her a little bit of a break. I'd say this is probably the 5th time I've picked up her feet without using a rope, or using the lead rope here. So we want to make it as pleasant as possible and just give her a break. And this foot's not too bad, so it doesn't really have to be picked out too much, but since I got it up and I'm over here, I'll go ahead and just do it. I mean, just her reaction to me touching her feet from 2 months ago to now, it's been just a huge change, and it just kind of goes to show when you take your time with these things and don't try to rush it, you just get baby steps, they do a lot better. To desensitize her to things touching her legs, kind of just like this. Same thing with the backs. I know, you're fine with it. I haven't done this in a while because you've been good. But when you just do this type of thing, they do end up doing a lot better. I am getting ready to start doing some of the saddle prep work. So I'm going to see how she does with sending around today. And then if she does good there, I'm going to crawl up on the fence and just get her used to me being above her. And she is definitely due for a trim, so I'm glad I got her feet up so we can get that done for her. Her back feet really aren't too bad, but her front feet are really overgrown right now. So hopefully we can have the farrier out next week to get her done. That'll give me more time to work on her too. You'll start off by just holding it out here to kind of present it. You can give a vocal cue to get her moving. And I don't want her pulling on this lead rope. And I don't want her stopping until I ask her to stop. So I'll use those vocal cues. I could even throw my hand out here with this rope. I'm not having to swing it out here or really do anything crazy to get her moving. And she's pulling on it, so I'm going to keep her going around until she's done pulling on it. I'll see about bumping up on that to get that hind end out a little bit. And I'm going to keep her going until she gets it right. Right there looked really good, but I didn't ask her to stop. She stopped on her own. So I'll keep her going. She wasn't pulling. She was keeping her hind end out. She was standing up straight. The main reason I do this too is when I get up on that fence, she needs to be able to go out around me to have her come back through to get underneath of me. She's actually doing pretty good now on this side. There she's stepping out, stepping out. I'm gonna ask you to stop. So I'm talking about when I'm saying stepping out here is that inside back leg. You want to step out a little bit. You kind of want to step to the outside in front of her outside back leg. And when you're doing this, the way that you can achieve that is when they're going around, you bump up before that foot leaves the ground, and that should get that foot out there. I didn't ask her to stop. So the goal for this is to have her go around, and you don't have to bump on that lead rope to get that back foot out. She just does it automatically. Good. I'll ask her to stop there. She started to stop, but she was getting it right, so I kind of made that my idea and got her to stop. That's a big thing too. When you're working on something and a horse kind of hints at it, or it starts doing the right thing, but then it decides it wants to stop too. If it's starting to do the right thing and you're going to stop it anyways, make that your idea when they decide to stop, if they're doing it correctly. And that comes down to when you're riding too. When you're first riding a horse for the first couple rides, you're not really going to direct it too much. You're just going to let it go where it wants to go. And you make it your idea when they're doing it. Say I'm going around and she wants to go across the center of the ram pen. We're going this way. She wants to take that right. Just go with her. Make it your idea. Make it feel good for her. All right. So now that we got that good, I'm going to go ahead and come up on the fence over here. If she does get scared, that's fine. I won't try to hold her there because that might end up scaring her more. So I'll kind of give her a minute before I start asking her to do anything. I'll just take it one step at a time too. I don't want her to come into me. I have been on the fence with Hopi. Last time I was planning on doing it, she didn't quite have the sending around down. So I wanted to build on that. I got her to get the steps correct last time, and I got her to wait until I asked her to come in, and I called that good. Today she didn't need too much correction with it, so it's a good time to start this. I'm not going to try to get her lined up to sit on her today off the fence. I just want her to be able to come up to me freely. And even thinking about coming over here and touching me. Good girl. She is really curious about me being up here. On the ground, she's pretty hesitant sometimes about even reaching out and touching me, but she's a lot more curious with me up here. So I ask her to step over here. Good girl. She's lining herself up, and I didn't even ask her to. If she wants to go around like that, that's fine. I'm not going to get on her about it. I'll just ask her to come back over here. With me starting this, my goal for next week is to have her get lined up so I can start to rub her down with my leg up here. And hopefully by the end of next week, I'll be able to sit on her off of this fence. And then the following week would be introduction to the saddle. There's still a few more things I need to work with her on the ground, but I'll be getting that done probably next week before I get on the fence. I'll go through a few things, just making sure she understands different pressures on her body. She's got dropping her head down. She knows how to flex. And then I'll start doing more desensitizing too towards the end of next week. So I'll have to bring my flag to make sure I have that. I'll probably, excuse me, I'll probably even bring my rope and just get her desensitized to the rope touching her, probably like around her back, around her butt. Using the rope to just kind of touch her legs with it. Another good thing, like a good reason to have a rope and know how to use one when you're training horses too, is you can kind of get them in unusual situations with it. I'm not saying put them in a bind where you can get yourself in a wreck or the horse in a wreck, but if you get that loop nice and big and you get it around their leg, you can work on touching it and rubbing it up on the inside of her leg and even up in like her armpit area. Same thing with the back, like getting it up over her stifles and just getting her used to things touching her there, because when you go to ride, if they're not prepared for something like that to happen, you could be riding through, like on the trail, riding through some bushes and a branch comes up and touches them in the armpit, or it touches them in, like above the stifle on the inside of the leg, and they've never felt that before. So their first instinct is going to be to either freeze or start bucking. So your goal as a trainer, somebody working with a horse, is to get them used to all different types of scenarios. It's good to have installed. Even hobble training. If you don't know what hobbles are, or if you don't know what hobble training is, try to find a good trainer, a reputable one, that does clinics, that does things like that, and see what they do with hobble training. Hobble training is usually a piece of cloth or some sort. I got one right there. It's a nylon one, but you use it to kind of get their front legs together so they can only step so far. That gets them used to, just if they get caught in a fence or something. I had a horse I started when I was in college, and I didn't do hobble training on her. It was one of the first ones. She went off to her new home after I had probably put about 60 rides on her. And about 6 months later, she got caught in a fence, and they came out the next day and they found her dead in the pasture. because she had got caught in that fence and she couldn't get the water. She pretty much just like scared herself to death. She got stuck in that situation and she froze and she just gave up. It's good to teach your horses how, like, if they get in a bind, that they're okay, that they just need to stand still and not freak out. That way, when you come and see them while they're stuck in something, you can get them out of it without having an issue. Or if they get stuck in something, they're not trying to get away from it and end up hurting themselves worse. I kind of use that little talking break there to give her a break too. Good girl. So right there, I asked her to take that step forward and she didn't have to swing her butt out. So I'll give her a little bit of a break there. So I'll ask her to come up again. And I just want one step. I'm not going to apply too much pressure. Right there, she gave me 2 steps. I'll go ahead and drop that pressure right down. I'll ask her again. I got 1 step. I'll let her sit there and think about it a little bit. She's kind of side-eyeing me, like she's not too sure, so I'll give her a second to kind of settle down. I'm just applying a little bit of pressure. I'm maybe applying, I don't know, 2 pounds of pressure right now. You can see I'm only using my pinky to really put that pressure on there. I'm going to keep it light, and if I need to build up, I'll kind of pinch the rope between my thumb and my forefinger and apply a little bit more pressure. Right there, she made a movement, so I'll relax that pressure down. And right there, I had to put less than a half a pound of pressure with just my pinky, and she took that step up. That's what your goal should be. Your goal should be to get them to move off the lightest pressure possible. If you got this nice sway in your lead rope, when you start picking up on that, that horse should react to that. When you start picking that rope up, that horse should react. That should be the main goal. So if I could pick up on that and barely get any pressure on there, and she's even starting to lean her nose into it, I'm not pulling on this rope at all right now. That's exactly why you want to be light with your horses. So right now I've probably got about 2 pounds of pressure on that rope. Now 3, 4, get it over in this hand, I got about 5. Right there, she took that step. I will see if she'll touch my hand again. Good girl. And I'll see if I could even pet her forehead up here. She didn't like that too much. I'll ask her to come back up and we'll just start over. I'm not too worried about her getting parallel with me. I just want her to be okay with me touching her up here. Good girl. There might be a few more times of her just reaching out and touching me before I could touch her. Good. Good. She got a little worried there. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. That's all I wanted. Just want to make it a good experience. If I'm up above her, you want to make it as good of an experience as possible. This will translate directly over to you being above her when you're in the saddle. It just gets her used to things being up there. And this is a good way to show her that nothing bad's going to happen if something's up here above you. See if I can pet her again. I'm not even pulling on this rope. I'm just going to leave my hand over here and wait for her to come back. I might just pick up a hair a little bit more. Good girl. There we go. So now I want to be able to get down from here without scaring her. I'll just let her kind of hang out over there, and I'll come on down. Good girl. Good. I introduced her to fence work. I was able to pick up all of her feet. I actually even brushed her, like groomed her entire body for the first time of the day. Usually in the past she's only let me maybe get to here with a brush before she starts freaking out. I was able to get all down her back, her butt. I was even able to get underneath of her belly without her really doing anything. So we are making progress. Hopefully, I'd say within 2 or 3 weeks we'll have a saddle on her, and hopefully soon we can start riding her. Good girl. All right, that's it.